everyone. Jonathan Dean here,
Elvin Handy.
and we'd like to welcome you to
Off the Axis
Podcast, where we're going to be touching on topics from a different angle, and we've got some pretty good ones to cover for you this week. But first, we want to give you a big thank you.
Definitely.
Lots of viewers last week, lots more than we anticipated anyway. So keep with it. Hope you guys enjoy, and if you have any advice, anything you'd like us to speak about, talk about, topics you'd like to cover, just let us know.
All right. Well, let's get to it on our first topic for today. What you got for us?
Big news coming out. James Comey and Letitia James charges have been dropped.
Wow.
Crazy.
But expected, though.
Expected. No one's really that
That's
surprised. It's just really unfortunate that we that this is what we're accustomed to at this point. Never getting
anything done.
Nothing gets done.
I mean, that's crazy. You have a guy, which is James Comey, that took the FBI, illegally spied on a presidential campaign to try to find some information against Trump's campaign in 2016 to try to overthrow him when he got in there. It's crazy that, and then he also bragged about doing this on an interview, which some of you may know. It's just crazy that a guy like this is able to get away with something that of that nature. Hopefully Pam Bondi appeals it. She talks earlier today that she might appeal it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think nothing's gonna happen. A big fat nothing burger. Woo! 4 more years, baby. 3 more years. Big fat nothing burgers. As bad as it is with him, he bragged about it. Letitia James is all on paperwork. She did not live in the home. She bought it as her personal residence.
Yep.
And she has her crackhead niece or cousin or whatever living in it while she's hiding from the police. Is this even real? Is this even real?
I don't get it. It seems like all these people are above the law when it comes to certain things and just get away with everything. And I thought that, especially with the FBI, the DOJ, I thought we had a dream team when it comes to those agencies, because I thought Pam Bondi would come in and just knock everything down. I thought Cash Patel would come in and just knock everything down. I mean, he wrote a whole book on government gangsters and taking down the swamp. So, I mean, that's really what I want to see him do, but it doesn't seem like anything's happening like that.
What a disappointment. I know we're only a year in to the Trump administration, but it really just seems like nothing is happening. It seems like the status quo.
I mean, what do you think? You think that, because, I mean, time and time again throughout the years, I've seen people go in with really great intentions. They go to Washington, D.C., and then it seems like after a couple of months or a couple of years, they have a complete 360 transformation. Do you think that it's some group that's approaching them, that's swaying their decisions? You think they're being threatened? Or their family being threatened? So, because some interviews you look at with Cash Patel, it looked like he's not even all the way there sometimes. It's like somebody's holding a gun to his head or something, like he's held hostage, you know?
I don't even know what to think at this point. I have to, the only reasonable thing I can come up with is that once you're into office, especially presidential or FBI director, either they finally find the dirt on you, or they had it the whole time and they were waiting to control you, or that power that you get makes you just want more and more power. So you're willing to work with people and give people things that you never would have given before. When you were a man of morality, when you were a man of integrity, maybe those things change. Maybe those things aren't just for sale with finances. Maybe they're also for sale with power.
Okay, so you don't think they're being blackmailed in any way?
Possibly blackmailed, possibly addicted to power, possibly not wanting to relinquish what they have. I
Maybe a combination of everything.
I'm just really disappointed.
You're disappointed.
I'm beyond disappointed.
So what do you think the chances of Pam Bondi appealing something like this? Either 50, 60% chance? Or
I don't even give it that. I think they got their highlight reel on the mainstream media, and from all the podcasters when they initially filed the charges, they got their highlight reel. This is going to get swept under the rug. People probably aren't even seeing that these charges have been dropped. Yeah. So not even going to remember it. They're just going to remember, oh, we brought charges up against Letitia James and James Comey. Go get them.
And that's all they're going to remember.
Yeah, and that's all they're going to remember. The news cycle is so quick. But let's get into it, see what he has to say.
Yeah, see what I can say.
Check out CBC Radio Canada, see what's going on here.
Okay.
I'm grateful that the court ended the case against me, said former FBI Director James Comey, based on malevolence and incompetence. A dismissal, he suggested, that comes with a powerful underlying message.
The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies.
But he can.
I don't care what your politics are. You have to see that as fundamentally un-American.
You can't, but
and
I
a threat
can.
to the rule of law that keeps all of us
Story
free.
we see here
Could
all
you
the
raise
time.
your right hand, please?
Here's the backstory.
You solemnly swear that testimony you about to give.
Comey was charged with making a false statement and obstruction of Congress on sworn testimony from back in 2020.
He's become more famous than me.
At first welcomed by U.S. President Donald Trump in his first term, Comey, who'd investigated possible links between the 2016 Trump campaign and Russia, was fired by Trump as FBI director not long after Trump took office. This September, Trump pressed for legal action against Comey, who'd become a fierce Trump critic. When a federal prosecutor reportedly refused, citing lack of evidence against Comey, the prosecutor quit and was quickly replaced by a former Trump personal lawyer, Lindsay Halligan. Charges against Comey then came almost immediately, and
Donald Trump falsely.
Separately, against another perceived Trump adversary, New York Attorney General Letitia James. In tossing out both cases,
the exact thing that she went after Trump for, she was doing, and nothing's going to happen.
Insane.
I understand why nothing happened to him. I get it. I reviewed that case heavily. I understand. It was baloney.
Yeah, that case was baloney.
But she's actually doing damage to the United States in what she does. When people commit this type of mortgage fraud, they're driving up interest rates. They're driving up housing costs. I mean, these are net negatives for us.
Definitely negatives.
So, you know, whereas his was he paid his bill, he paid him back. They accused him of overvaluing, and then she clearly undervalued in the court case.
And the thing about it, Trump's lawyers, when they were accusing him of overvaluing his property, the banks did their own due diligence when he gave them the valuation that he thought. So
they agreed.
Right, they agreed. So if a bank agrees to what you're saying, they do their own analysis, their own due diligence.
And then he pays them back
right,
on time.
That's on the bank. If the bank agrees with it, there's nothing you really can do about that.
No.
You know? Crazy.
the federal judge describes Halligan as a former White House aide with no prior prosecutorial experience and no lawful authority to move forward because she was appointed without congressional approval. Said the White House,
"We're not going to give up, and I know that the Department of Justice intends to appeal these rulings very soon if they haven't already. I may have missed it."
Levitt called the dismissal unprecedented. Adrian said, Comey, it's time to stand up to, as he put it, the fools who would frighten us.
The fools. So I think he's referring to all of us. The fools, the ones who pushed for it. This just goes to show the absolute disdain that the elite have for us. The absolute disdain. They hate you. They hate you. They hate you. You guys all need to realize that.
That's true.
And what will put us in prison for 5 years?
They get away with it.
They get away with it.
I mean, I know they insider trade. They do.
I mean, they're even getting rewarded. She got rewarded with lower interest rates. She got rewarded with lower house payments. She got rewarded with probably personal home buying tax credits. So all of this, and
yeah, it's sad.
It's so disheartening to see this, especially in this administration. We thought we were gonna have something different, and right now we need to see some action.
Well, I know a big problem within our government structure is the judicial branch. These judges, they're blocking everything. They're appealing everything. Before this second Trump term, I didn't really know that the judicial branch had this much power.
Well, they didn't.
In order to do all these blocks, and
they've seized the power.
Yeah,
they've seized the power, and our other branches have lackadaisically just given it up. They've given up the power. This was never intended. This is not constitutional granted power. Frequently these rogue judges are using to get rid of charges, to drop cases.
Right.
But where's Congress? Why is Congress not stepping in? We have a Republican majority. Why are they not stepping in and putting a stop to it?
Yeah, somebody needs to put a stop to these rogue judges.
Or do they not want to?
That's
is it
true
just
too.
the system being the system?
Well, you gotta admit, I mean, some people in Congress probably are on the sides of some of these judges on some of these issues, so they don't really care if they're appealing this, appealing that, or putting a block between a certain policy that Trump wants or something like that of that nature. So some of these Congress people are on the judge's side.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what the Supreme Court is doing. I would like to see the Supreme Court take up something like this.
Well, they don't take up anything that's too controversial. Very rarely. They like to ignore the big cases where there's lots of controversy.
Yeah.
And where actual constitutional, maybe not where constitutional is to be interpreted, but they give up a lot of their power and where the constitutional authority over the different branches is interpreted. And that it's still up to them to interpret.
Yeah, it is up there. They're the final interpreter.
If they're going to give up their power, why would another branch not seize it?
That's true. They really need to take their power back, and get.
As does Congress.
Yeah, well, Congress too. Definitely Congress too. But I really want to see the Supreme Court take their power back, because it's their branch really that's really abusing the power the most out of all the three branches right now. If we could get the judicial branch under control, I think we could make more headway with this administration this term. But we'll see if they ever take up that on the issue.
We want one thing. We want them locked up. We want them locked up. Lock them up.
Yeah, definitely. That's all we want.
All right. What you got next for us today, Mr. Handy?
Okay, the next topic I'm going to talk about the U.S. and Venezuela conflict. I know, as some of you may know, over the past couple of months, there has been an increasing conflict in the Caribbean Sea between the U.S. and Venezuela. Many are speculating that is due to the drug trafficking problem that the U.S. has had over the years, which I know is really a huge problem in the U.S. because millions, hundreds of thousands, millions die of drug overdoses every year, especially from fentanyl. It's a terrible drug. And I know that Venezuela really is a transit nation for a lot of drugs that comes through, especially when it's coming from Colombia.
Now, do you think that Venezuela is predominantly trafficking the fentanyl, or do you think they're predominantly in charge of moving the cocaine from Colombia to here?
I think they're mainly transit in charge of moving the cocaine from Colombia to here,
which is still killing
a million. And you got to understand, when it comes to drugs like cocaine, sometimes it can be cut with other drugs too, like fentanyl. So I do understand why the U.S. and the Trump administration have concerns when it comes to Venezuela. But it's also another reason I think that Trump is going after Venezuela as well, that I'm going to get into later.
Preach!
But first, I want to do a brief overview of this article. Okay.
All right.
So it says, The Hill. The Trump administration is designating Venezuela's Cartel de los Solos as a foreign terrorist organization, the latest measure to ramp up pressure on President Nicolas Maduro. The State Department formally announced the designation in the Federal Register on Monday, giving the Trump administration additional tools to go after the cartel. Cartel de los Solos, or Cartel of the Suns, refers to a network of government and military officials in Venezuela engaged in drug trafficking. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a statement last week that Cartel de los Solos and other cartels in Venezuela were responsible for terrorist violence throughout our hemisphere, as well as for trafficking drugs into the United States and Europe. Monday's announcement will give the White House wider authority to impose sanctions and crack down on Maduro's assets amid an intensifying pressure campaign against Venezuela. The U.S. has repositioned military assets, which I'm going to get into what type of military assets they have repositioned, closer to Venezuela in recent weeks. President Trump has refused to rule out using U.S. military force or putting troops on the ground in Venezuela. Now, that part right there is a cause for concern for me, because a lot of his campaign was driven by no new wars. So I really don't want to see innocent soldiers, especially American soldiers' lives lost over a conflict such as this. So I'm hoping that he's taking a different tactic to this approach. I get into what tactic I think he's trying to take after I go through some of these other documents.
We 100% 100% cannot tolerate boots on the ground
No,
anywhere.
no,
Anywhere, especially not in our hemisphere.
No, especially not in our
Unacceptable.
hemisphere. Yeah, it is unacceptable. But I'm hoping that he's not really leaning towards that. He's leaning towards another strategy, which I'll get into later. But first, I want to point to the repositioned military assets. So the repositioned military assets last week, he increased one of the lead aircraft carriers to go to the Caribbean Sea, the USS Gerald R. Ford, which is the leading U.S. Navy aircraft for the military. So that's a major escalation in the conflict when he sent over our leading aircraft. I mean, this aircraft has vast stealth capabilities. It has decoy launcher capabilities. So
Are there any nuclear there?
Nuclear, yes, nuclear
position there as well?
Yes. So this right here, I feel like is causing an escalation in the conflict by sending an aircraft such as that. And I think that, well, I hope that Nicolas Maduro doesn't see that as an act of war and amps up his posture and causes a war to break out. But I'm hoping that Trump is not really leaning towards war. I'm hoping that he's trying to force Maduro back into a corner to try to make him leave the presidency and have somebody else step in. So I think
change.
I think Trump is really trying to do more of a regime change
instead
of actually trying to go to war. But I'm hoping that in trying to do the regime change, that he won't cause a war.
When does this ever work out?
Now it doesn't work. It never works out too well. Regime changes. I do understand why Trump would want a different leader in Venezuela, because I don't know if you know Maria. Do you know Maria? Mm-hmm. She ran last year in Venezuela. She won 90% of the opposition party primary. And basically what happened to her is the Venezuela court ordered that she couldn't run for the presidency. So they basically stole the presidency up from under her. And actually she received very high praise from Trump. So I think Trump really wants her to be the leader of Venezuela. So I think he's trying to find a way to kind of push Maduro out of there to install her in there.
And just to foreshadow a little bit, guys, when it comes to regime change, we will have an extra special guest coming on in a few weeks. And he will be discussing from a personal firsthand view regime change that he has experienced and seen, and how it has affected the nation he lives in. So you stay around for that, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Now with Maria, which I was talking about, I think that Trump and the U.S. wants regime change not only for the drug trafficking problem that's going on with Venezuela, but many people don't know that Venezuela has very strong ties with China. And China for a long time, especially I would say around 2016, the beginning of Trump's campaign to be the U.S. president, he's always had I wouldn't say vendetta, but he always has known that China is America's #1 threat.
Absolutely.
So he doesn't want anybody, especially Venezuela, because they're right in our backyard. He doesn't want anybody like that in our backyard that has strong connection to a country, an adversary like China. That's poses a national security threat to America. So I think he's trying to install someone like a candidate like Maria, because she will be more sympathetic towards the U.S. and she will kind of break that relationship up between China and Venezuela. So I think he's using the drug trafficking as a headline type of thing to send out to the citizens of the U.S. But in all, behind closed doors, his real true goal is to separate the relationship between Venezuela and China, which I do have an article on how strong the relationship is between Venezuela and China. Let me just pull this up here. So we have a historical background. It says China and Venezuela established formal diplomatic relations in August 1974 when Venezuela switched recognition from the Republic of China Taiwan to the People's Republic of China. Ties deepened significantly during Hugo Chavez's presidency starting in 1999 as both nations pursued a multipolar world order opposing U.S. dominance. So I want you guys to really see that part right there where it says opposing U.S. dominance. So that's what Trump is really laser focused on right there. A nation that's teaming up with another nation over decades, over years, that their complete mission is opposing U.S. dominance. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, they have more information than us, we would assume, to make these decisions. And I know I say that a lot. And normally I say it with confidence and trust in the administration. That's at a low for me right now. So
Okay.
I hope that whatever they're doing, it's for once we've really considered the outcome of regime change, because in our backyard we don't need a civil war with hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans killing each other.
No, that's definitely true. But do you agree that it's probably a two-tier approach that Trump is taking? It's not just about drug trafficking.
Oh, he's
It's
the
about-
master. He's
Yeah.
he's a master of chess. He definitely is always playing chess. I think he definitely has other. The agenda is not just the drugs.
Right. The agenda is not just
If the agenda was just to stop the fentanyl from coming in, we would sever ties with China completely via trade.
Right.
And that would, like, he would have stuck to the tariffs,
Mm-hmm.
and continued to increase them, and Congress would have followed suit. So the fact that Congress didn't follow suit with the tariffs as well just goes to show that there's clearly another agenda at play.
Yeah, and I think that agenda is to definitely cause a regime change, to separate the relationship between China and Venezuela, and install somebody, like I say, like a Maria, to implement that new directive. And I also have a video. If you go to scene 3,
The Nobel Peace
Of
Prize
Maria.
for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela.
well, people love her. They love her in Venezuela.
Lack of published results. I mean, not that a published result would dictate how I feel about an election anyway.
obtuvo el
Yeah, true.
70% de los votos de esta elección y Nicolás Maduro el 30% de los votos. Esta es la verdad.
Wow.
No sé, pero en todo caso yo he decidido permanecer en Venezuela
She'll be lucky
y
if they don't kill her.
acompañar la lucha desde aquí.
Yeah, she is. She will be lucky if they don't kill her. Because she's very popular.
Maria Corina Machado is one of the most extraordinary examples of
So I just wanted you guys to see that little video of who I think Trump really wants to run Venezuela. I believe that if he was able to install her, America would be able to break those relationship ties between China and Venezuela, and also they'll be able to counter the drug trafficking as well. So in all, I believe it's a two-tier problem that Trump is going after when it comes to going after Venezuela. I just hope that in trying to affect a regime change in Venezuela, he doesn't cause another new war that he promised that he wouldn't start with his campaign.
Well, it's also worth considering. Well, not even considering, just thinking about. Obviously, Venezuela's economy has been just severely famined from his policy.
Yeah.
I know that they have had over 100% inflation.
Ooh, yeah, it's high.
But on the opposite side of it, when Chavez was president, they had 10% Christianity in Venezuela. It's now up to 20 to 25% under Maduro. The evangelicals are really supporting him. It seems like there's actually a conservative revolution going on underneath of him. Now, they're taking back LGBTQ rights. They're getting rid of transgenderism. They're getting rid of
that's great.
anything they do to children. So they're focusing on a lot of really good things. They're getting restrictive abortion laws.
Wow.
They're diverting that money to social programs to help women who are pregnant.
Okay, that's great.
So it's the good with the bad, but the good doesn't matter if people can't eat.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Because you remember that video from last week, the food shortages and how they had
lines
to go 8-10 hours traveling to find food. It was crazy.
Yeah, but so it's just an interesting thing to see when things have gone, to the socialist perspective with him in charge, and yet the actual social constructs of the country are drifting to the right.
Yeah.
So maybe it's due to his poor leadership, which is driving people to the right.
That's true too. His poor leadership might be driving people to the right too.
There's no time to become closer to God than when you're going through a tough time.
Right, exactly. It's like, because that's actually something that I have to research the difference between Maria and him when it comes to like the right and left. Because if I remember correctly, I think she's more to the right and he's more to the left. Because he does follow more of a socialist type of aspect. So you might be right that
those words right and left, though, we have to be careful with as well, because when you go from country to country,
I guess it
terms right and left, they become muddied in the middle.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not the way we definitively look at it in America is not quite what it is everywhere else. So
that is true.
They might say left, they might say right. Like I know some Mexicans who support people on the left, who support people on the right, and they wouldn't be the typical right and left that you would think those individuals would support. So
okay, but you might be right about that other stance that his politics are pushing people more to those type of values.
But you can't knock him for reducing abortion.
No, I can't knock him for that.
You can't knock him for reducing no more sex changes on children. You can't knock him for getting rid of all these things.
That's definitely good. Because I guess he is more of a dictator, so that final say so is up to him. So I'm pretty sure.
It's just interesting to see that he's a socialist, but he's a little more conservative on social issues. It's an interesting paradigm to look at.
I guess he's more of a socialist when it comes to wealth distribution. Yes. That's probably what it is.
Yes.
And the wealth distribution is what drives poverty when it comes to socialism. So he's probably kind of a little bit more conservative when it comes to family values, social values. But when it comes to economy and wealth distribution, then he's socialist. Because, as some people know, socialism for the government brings in more revenue.
Absolutely.
So that's probably why he likes
socialism absolutely.
For the more economic side. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's see here. What do you got next to dive into today?
Yeah, let me go to my next topic. Some of these are some funny ones.
You got some good stuff, some good humor topics for us today?
Some of them are kind of humorous. I'm going to go to the downfall of the great city of Chicago. So
I guess it's humorous because we live in Florida.
Yeah, at least I don't live in Chicago.
Oh, poor people.
So as some of you may know, Chicago has been facing major problems over the past few months. And right now they're having a spending problem. And the spending problem is coming from the Chicago public school system. So last week, it was uncovered through an investigation that the Chicago public school system has basically taken taxpayer money that's meant to go to their kids so they can learn better and do math better. They've been taking that money and going on luxury vacations, and this money has been spent in the tunes of millions. And this is not just something that has recently taken place. This is something that's been going on for quite a few years.
If I'm not mistaken, they have one of the most horrific childhood reading levels in all of America.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into that. It's an article that speaks on that, and it's crazy that the money that they can be using to help their children read, help their children do math, they're spending on luxury vacations, going to 5-star hotels, dining in 5-star restaurants, it's just crazy. I have a video on it that I'm gonna play right here.
Luxury hotels, limo rides, all on the taxpayer's dime. A new report from the Chicago Public Schools Inspector General raises some serious questions about millions of dollars in travel expenses by district staff. CBS News Chicago's Marissa Perlman here with me now on more on what the investigators are calling some excessive spending. And when you see the readout, it's a lot.
There's a lot included in this report, Marie. We're talking wildlife safaris, hot air balloon trips.
Wildlife safaris?
All of the district's expense.
You got the
and
wrong
time
job.
To remember, when CPS is trying
Sitting
to
here
close
with you, I could be on the school
$700
board.
million budget gap.
By our judgment, the costs were frequently excessive. And in fact, they frequently exceeded CPS's spending limits.
Phil Wagenknecht, Inspector General for CPS, says a nearly 2-year-long investigation found the travel expense process to be broken and its bookkeeping deficient.
We saw time and time again, staff members were able to go on these trips without getting approval at all, without seeking approval, at times even after they sought approval and it was rejected.
The investigation started after several
Wait, so approval was rejected, and then they still took the safari? Oh, we are in special times, my man. We're in
Chicago definitely in special times.
It is Gotham out here. It is Gotham.
Yeah, Chicago is in special
times.
times.
Came into the watchdog agency. One of them, a $20,000 trip to Egypt that was never pre-approved. The report shows some people charge CPS for limo rides to the airport and education retreats at spas. Others would go to conferences at Disney World, but wouldn't attend a similar event in Chicago.
CPS should find a way to do more professional development here in Chicago, close to home.
The investigation later found 600 school and district staff went to Las Vegas for professional development.
600?
Conference, they were
600?
5-star hotel.
Insane.
600 staff members of the public schooling system went on the trip to Disney.
Yes, 600. Yes, it's.
And how many of their kids went with them? They paid for them too?
I don't believe so.
No?
I don't believe so. But this is something that's been spanning for quite a few years, these trips that they've been going on, these luxury vacation trips. It's insane.
Like, people entrust you. They put their trust in you and vote you in for school board because they think that you have the best in mind for their children.
Mm-hmm.
And then you rob them.
Yeah, you rob them
As soon
blind.
as they turn their back, you rob them.
Yeah, rob them of millions.
It's horrific. It's horrific.
It is horrific.
Hotels, including Caesar's Palace and the Bellagio.
Almost 90% of those who attended exceeded the district's hotel room
I've stayed in
spending
one of them
limit.
before.
But I don't think
No, it was mine. I was broke after too.
Remember, CPS announced earlier this year it faced a more than $700 million budget hole. And this summer, the district laid off hundreds of staff and made other cuts.
So that makes me want to lead into this documentary where it really gets into the nitty gritty of what's going on. Let me pull up this article. So it says a recent report from Chicago Public Schools CPS Office of Inspector General released on November 12, 2025 has exposed significant lapses in travel spending oversight, describing many expenses as questionable, excessive, and even exorbitant. The investigation, prompted by public complaints and spanning nearly 2 years, focused on overnight travel for staff professional development and student trips. It highlighted a surge in costs fueled by federal pandemic relief funds and inadequate district policies, occurring amid CPS's ongoing budget challenges, including a projected $734 million deficit for the 2025-26 school year. Despite spending over $30,000 per student annually, academic outcomes remain poor, with many schools reporting low proficiency rates in reading and math. So I guess you were right that it says student trips. So I guess some of these trips students are coming on.
$30,000 per student annually. So if you had each teacher inside of a classroom with only 4 students, you could pay them $120,000 each.
Yeah.
Or after if they got rid of all the pork fat,
right?
They can make at least $80,000-$90,000 for teaching 4 students. Now you put 20 students in a class, the public schooling system there should be turning a profit.
Yeah, they
It should be turning a profit like a private enterprise.
Right. They shouldn't be in a $734 million deficit. But they're spending so much on these luxury vacations that even after all that, they're stuck in a hole for $735 million. And as you can see,
almost $1 billion. One city.
Yeah, almost $1 billion.
One city.
Yeah. And the key findings right here, fiscal year 2019, overnight travel spending, $3.6 million. 2021, they did a little better with the negative 300.
Because no one could travel. All flights were shut down.
Exactly. But then 2024, it bounces right back up, 7.7 million. 2023 to 2024, 14.5 million. So, I mean, Chicago has a major spending problem, not only in the educational department, but they have a major spending problem across their whole city. They're in a $1.15 billion deficit when it comes to their whole city.
But wait, 700 million of that is public schooling alone.
Yeah, and 700 million is public schooling alone. So that's really a huge chunk of their deficit. Now that you speak of it, I never really thought about
this.
That.
This is a great example of my stance of why we need to shut down the Department of Education. Some of that money is probably coming from the government, from the federal government.
Definitely some of it's coming federal.
And it just goes to show that it doesn't work. You don't need the government to control education. We've done nothing but have worse reading levels for children, worse mathematics levels. I mean, you can go buy a burger at Burger King and see what you have to deal with, man. Like
it's insane.
It's insane.
Because they've gotten away from teaching the fundamentals. They're more into teaching all these different woke programs instead of sticking to the fundamentals like math
or nothing at all. When they started the SATs, and I don't know what you guys had. We had it wasn't even SATs. It was standards. Yes.
Are you talking about the yearly test?
Yeah.
I know we had FCAT.
Okay, so it was like a test to see if everybody was working on the same playing field. You're coming along, whatever. So when they did all these standardized testings to decide what schools were working and what schools weren't, so they wouldn't leave students behind was the theory. But what has happened in turn is teachers are giving passing grades. So that way they still get the funding for their schooling. They still look like a good teacher, and they're sending kids through and stealing their entire future from them.
Wow, that's why I'm a more of an advocate of school choice, where you give the family the money really, and then they choose to take their kids to the best schools they possibly can. It kind of gives more of a competition aspect to schooling instead of just funding a school that's failing year in and year out. There's no competition aspect, so they're not afraid of losing out to another school because they know they're going to get the money anyways.
Kids from private schools have statistically much higher chance at getting into college, graduating college, making six figures. They live longer lives. Everything about it. So clearly privatized education works better. And maybe it wouldn't work better if people weren't robbing the system. But when you have this many people in the system, people are going to rob it.
Oh, yeah, people are definitely going to rob it because it's going to be legit tunes of millions of dollars of money coming in every year that they're not going to get, whether they perform well or perform
Everyone's
bad.
hands are out. Everyone's hands are out. Me, not the kids that you're there to protect.
Right. So, all in all, with this Chicago spending problem, I hope that they're able to turn this around because, I mean, if they keep year in and year out, keep up with a deficit, especially a $1.15 billion deficit, they're really going to end up filing bankruptcy as a city. So
does that happen? Is that a thing?
Yeah, city can file for bankrupt. I think it's a podcast that I watch.
Who can reorganize loans of $1.15 billion?
I don't know.
And who's getting screwed out of their money?
I don't know. It would be a tragedy, but I know it has happened before. It happened with Detroit. Detroit back in the day had to file for bankruptcy because
No kidding.
Right.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. But I do have something else with Chicago, with Chicago's downfall. Chicago also has a tax problem. I don't know if you heard about this. So Chicago has a property tax problem. They've had a property tax explosion about, I would say, a couple of days ago. So what happened, you remember last week when I talked about commercial properties, how the business owner may leave and go elsewhere, and they won't take care of the building, and the building will become
Absolutely.
dilapidated, unkept, and then the value drops, and then the property tax value drops. So that means the city's not taking in as much property tax revenue. So this is basically what has happened to Chicago. The socialist policies that their politicians have incorporated has caused many business owners to flee and leave and go elsewhere, but they leave their businesses vacant. So it leaves their business.
Well, you can't sell them. Who wants to buy a business in Chicago?
Right, exactly.
I'm not buying a business in Chicago, opening a business in Chicago.
No, because the socialist policies are just going to hit you over the head anyway.
And the crime
and the crime
it's
as
just
well.
not somewhere you want to be. And you know, they're taxing the people so high that what are they going to spend your business? They're not going to spend money at your business. They're too busy buying the essentials.
Exactly. So that's exactly what happened. So the property values are going down because nobody's keeping up with the upkeep of the buildings. And so Chicago is taking that loss of tax revenue, property tax revenue, and they're passing it on to certain residencies within Chicago. So some residents have seen their property taxes, I don't know if you heard about this, go up as much as 133%.
And meanwhile, here in Florida, we're thinking about getting rid of property taxes because what happens is, you know, you retire and you have your meek property that was worth $50,000-$60,000 when you purchased it in Chicago. So, you know, grandma bought her house in 1960 for $30,000. Nice little home. She's taking care of it. It's so nice. The rest of the neighborhood has already gone to beep.
Yep.
And now she is retired, has a stable income, but it's coming from Social Security, so it's highly limited.
Right.
And she can no longer afford the property taxes. She has to sell her house.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's truly sad that they're passing on the property taxes to the residents and raising it 133%.
Well, that's Ben Shapiro. He'll just tell you to move somewhere cheaper.
Yeah, true. And I have a video on this raise that they just did. It's insane. Let me play this video for you guys.
A lot of sticker shock for Chicago homeowners. The long-delayed property tax bills are in, and yes, they include record increases. Why are they so high, and what could that have to do with the mayoral campaign 2 years from now? NBC5's Charlie Wojciechowski takes a closer look.
I'll be honest, I didn't open it up yet. I was scared.
What is there to be afraid of in your 2024 property tax bill? According to the Cook County Treasurer, whose job it is to send you a bill for all the taxes from various local government entities, a lot. The average residential bill is up almost 17% in tax year 2024 to more than $4,400.
Wait, 17% in 1 year?
Blame the downtown economy.
All these commercial buildings that you see downtown that are unrented and unoccupied, their taxes went down. And one commercial group goes down, residences go up. Pretty simple.
After analyzing the bills, the county treasurer's office says some neighborhoods are hit harder than others. In Englewood, the average increase is more than $600.
No, in Englewood?
In North Lawndale, bills jumped an average of
99.
And if I recall, Englewood, you know, I don't think it's the nicest community. I think
most of the property increases have happened in neighborhoods that are not the nicest. But
right, so now you have women who are already there, single moms, single grandmas. You know, they have the family in the house still, and now they're experiencing a raise like that.
It's insane.
You're gonna starve these people and make them homeless.
Yeah, you are gonna make them homeless. Exactly. It's pretty sad.
Or 99%. And in West Garfield Park, the median homeowner tax bill soared by nearly $2,000 or 133%. Papa says a proposed head tax is the wrong way to go if you're trying to get businesses to pay more in property tax so that homeowners pay less.
We've got to revitalize the business community, get businesses back, and give them the confidence that the city is a place that they can do business in comfortably, and that's not happening.
But despite a defeat today in a city council committee, the mayor says he is not backing down on his $21 per employee per month head tax, which he says will go toward public safety.
I'm going to veto a budget that increases property taxes, and I'm challenging those with means, these large corporations, to pay their fair share in taxes. This community safety charge does just that.
Johnson says he will veto any budget with a property tax increase. Pappas is among those
Mayor Butthead Johnson has been a complete disaster for Chicago. I mean, he's talking about he's going to veto it. It shouldn't even be he's really the reason why it even happened.
He's the reason they need to increase them.
So he's trying to play savior, but he's the reason why the problem even happened. And it's sad that a lot of the residents of Chicago, they will time in and time out vote for somebody like him, and they just take him to the cleaners. I mean, because he campaigned on I'm gonna tax the rich, I'm gonna take wealth from the rich. But what people don't realize is if the rich get taxed, they can easily move somewhere else and pass the bill on to the more lower class people.
I mean, if you tax me higher on my businesses, what inevitably happens is my employees don't get raises.
Exactly.
We don't purchase new equipment for the jobs. And there's no perks and bonuses for the men.
No, not at all.
People don't believe in trickle-down economics because they've never owned a business.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, there are greedy business owners who don't pass their profits on to their employees. I'm not one, and I don't associate with anyone who's one.
But it's always better to treat your business owners in your community, your more wealthy in your community, better, because if you do, they'll treat the people that they employ better.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's always important.
There's always going to be anomalies to that.
It's always anomalies.
But in general, at least they have the opportunity to treat them better.
Right. Exactly. At least they have the opportunity. But you can see this tactic right here is not working out for Chicago. It's not working out for Mayor Brandon Johnson. It's funny. So I want to move on to my last downfall of Chicago topic. It's Chicago's violence. So have you seen the violence in Chicago?
The last 2 weeks have been madness.
Yeah.
Madness.
It's been complete madness. So I have this one video of something that happened a few days ago. And it's of a downtown shooting that actually killed a 14-year-old boy and injured 8 people. So let's get into this.
The Loop here in downtown Chicago, large crowds gathering for that Mag Mile Festival, and we have noticed that amplified police presence from the Chicago Police Department, officers patrolling the entire area, specifically here on State Street where we saw that shooting happen just last night. We talked to people who went to that festival. They said they were not going to let that shooting deter them from enjoying this day.
Downtown Chicago was filled with large crowds once again tonight as CPD continues to investigate 2 separate shootings that killed a 14-year-old boy and injured 8 others on Friday night. CPD with an increased presence tonight all across the city.
I ain't never seen nothing like it. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen as many police downtown.
Families coming out for the Mag Mile Festival tonight say they made sure to be aware of their surroundings, but would not let those shootings stop them from enjoying the day.
I think knowing the peace of mind that it's such a controlled environment and there's so many of us, I think we were okay coming. We were excited to still come.
The first shooting happened right in front of ABC7's State Street studio and the Chicago Theater around 10 p.m., injuring 7 teenagers ranging from 13 to 17 years old. Then about 40 minutes later, and just around the corner on Dearborn,
why is a 14-year-old out in the street at night?
14-year-old boy, while an 18-year-old man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police have not revealed the motives behind the shootings and are still trying to figure out if they're connected. Meanwhile, Mayor Brandon Johnson expressing his frustration today while explaining the public safety plan they had in place.
We had 700 additional officers on top of the 1st Police District present. We had CVI workers that were out there as well. But clearly, what we put in place,
he looks like he knows he's.
Mayor Johnson says 5 guns were.
Oh yeah, you can see it in his face.
He also says city officials had heard of a possible teen takeover that was planned for Friday, and they tried to get ahead of it.
There was a communication that was delivered to CPS to encourage young people not to participate in these unauthorized gatherings.
So we're still waiting to learn more information from Chicago police on both of these shootings. At this time, no one is in custody.
Wow.
So the problem that's really going on with Chicago is they have a huge police shortage. So a lot of these situations they can't even respond to accurately. It's been a lot of people complaining that over quite a few years that they're not even responding
30
to a lot
minutes
of their
for a 911 call.
Or they don't respond at all to a lot of their 911
Yeah, well,
calls.
car break-ins, home break-ins. If the person is not actively committing the crime, they're not supposed to respond.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have a major shortage, and this is why it's very sad, because you have a 14-year-old that died in this scenario, and it could have been avoided because, as some people may know, Trump offered to send in the National Guard to Chicago a couple of months ago. They fought it vehemently. Their governor fought it, their mayor fought it, and it gets to the point where if they would have accepted the National Guard, a situation like this could have been avoided, because you have extra police protection to be able to go to scenes like this, de-escalate the situation, or prevent the situation from even happening in the first place.
Crime has absolutely plummeted in every city the National Guard has stepped foot into.
Yeah.
It has plummeted. Yeah. And this is another disappointment I have with Trump. He lets these judges who have no ruling right, no constitutional authority to stop these actions, and he listens.
Yeah, I've seen that time and time again.
There's no reason to listen. They don't have the constitutional authority. So why not just do what you're going to do and let it go to the Supreme Court anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
Force your hand.
Now I wonder does he think it will lead to a more of an impeachment scenario? I'm wondering. What do you think?
I think if he does these things, it doesn't matter if they impeach him, because they have the House and the Senate. And they can't impeach him. They can impeach him, but they can't remove him from office.
Okay, so
if you continue down the road of not taking action when action is needed, well, then we lose the House, we lose the Senate. Well, not we, because I'm not particularly Republican, but Republicans lose the House and the Senate, and then he has no backing and no way to do anything.
That's true. That's true.
But if he stands firm and is the Trump that ran originally in 2016 and swings the bat for the home run, like, people are going to respect it.
Yeah,
and the numbers are going to speak for themselves. The numbers are going to speak for themselves.
That's true. That's true. People will respect that, because you're right. He did.
It's what we voted for.
Yeah, yeah, and he did do a great numbers with bringing down the crime in Washington D.C. and in Memphis. So you're right. If he really clamped down on that and really forced their hand and send a National Guard to these cities, even with going against some of what these judges are saying, I think it will. Have a dramatic increase.
Send them, let the city or the state sue you, and then you appeal the lawsuit to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Or not the lawsuit. I guess it would be a criminal suit for if he were to send them after they were said he could not. But then you take that to the Supreme Court. You proactively make moves for the safety of your people, and you deal with the consequences later.
Yeah, you deal with consequences later. That's true. Yes, I wish he would take more of that approach. That's definitely true, because we definitely need more police presence, law enforcement presence in some of these cities, especially Chicago.
We need more. We need more in Tallahassee.
Yeah, Tallahassee too. We need them a little bit everywhere.
We have areas here that aren't even patrolled.
Wow.
I mean, I lived on the south side in one of the roughest neighborhoods in the city for years, and drive-by shootings would happen and police would never come.
Wow.
Like, people didn't get shot, but there were shooters. I mean, and maybe that's the hood not calling the police. I don't know. I didn't call them, so I guess I can't really say a lot. But I'm just mean, like, somebody called them.
Yeah, I would think somebody would have had to call them.
And just no one show up. And when I lived down in that neighborhood by the fairgrounds, I never would see a cop car go up down the street, any of the surrounding streets, and it was one of the most crime-ravaged neighborhoods in the city.
Wow.
No police presence.
But no police presence. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so we need that everywhere. We need more police presence everywhere. And I do wish that's something he'll change, hopefully next year or something, where he stands more firm on sending those law enforcement officers to these cities where danger is present. But what you have some topics for us today?
All right, guys, this is we saved this for last because we're gonna have to clip this out on certain platforms. I'm bringing the heat. This could potentially have us dethrottled on many platforms. Get us a shadow
I would
ban.
say especially YouTube.
Especially YouTube. We could get shadow banned for discussing this, so we saved it to the end. A big topic.